or something like that, thought Bond, as he pushed his way through the swing doors of the salle privée, and nodded to the bored man in evening clothes, whose job it is to bar your entry and your exit with the electric foot switch, which can lock the doors at any hint of trouble. And the casino committee would balance its books and break up to its homes or cafes for lunch. As for robbing the caisse, in which Bond himself was not personally concerned, but only interested, he reflected that it would take 10 good men, that they would certainly have to kill 1 or 2 employees, and that anyway you probably couldn't find 10 non-squeal killers in France, or in any other country, for the matter of that. As he gave 1,000 francs to the vestiaire and walked down the steps of the casino, Bond made up his mind that Le Chiffre would in no circumstances try to rob the caisse, and he put the contingency out of his mind. Instead, he explored his present physical sensations. He felt the dry, uncomfortable gravel under his evening shoes, the bad, harsh taste in his mouth, and the slight sweat under his arms. He could feel his eyes filling their sockets. The front of his face, his nose and antrum, were congested. He breathed the sweet night air deeply and focused his senses and his wits. He wanted to know if anyone had searched his room since he had left it before dinner. He walked across the broad boulevard and through the gardens to the Hôtel Splendide. He smiled at the concierge who gave him his key, number 45 on the first floor, and took the cable. It was from Jamaica and read, Kingston, J.A. Bond. Splendide, Royale les Eaux. Seine inférieure. Havana cigar production. All Cuban factories. 1915. 10 million. Repeat. 10 million. Stop. Hope this figure you require. Regards, De Silva. This meant that 10 million francs was on the way to him. It was the reply to a request Bond had sent that afternoon, through Paris, to his headquarters in London, asking for more funds. Paris had spoken to London, where Clements, the head of Bond's department, had spoken to M, who had smiled wryly and told the broker to fix it with the Treasury. Bond had once worked in Jamaica, and his cover on the Royale assignment was that of a very rich client of Messrs. Chiffre, the principal import and export firm of Jamaica. So he was being controlled through Jamaica, through a taciturn man who was head of the picture desk on the Daily Gleaner, the famous newspaper of the Caribbean. This man on the Gleaner, whose name was Fawcett, had been bookkeeper for one of the leading turtle fisheries on the Cayman Islands. One of the men from the Caymans who had volunteered on the outbreak of war had ended up as a paymaster's clerk in a small naval intelligence organization in Malta. At the end of the war, when with a heavy heart he was due to return to the Caymans, he was spotted by the section of the Secret Service concerned with the Caribbean. He was strenuously trained in photography and in some other arts, but with the quiet connivance of an influential man in Jamaica, found his way to the picture desk of the Gleaner. In the intervals between sifting photographs submitted by the great agencies, Keystone, Wide World, Universal, INP, and Reuters Photo, he would get peremptory instructions by telephone from a man he had never met to carry out certain simple operations, requiring nothing but absolute discretion, speed, and accuracy. For these occasional services, he received £20 a month, paid into his account with the Royal Bank of Canada by a fictitious relative in England. Fawcett's present assignment was to relay immediately to Bond, full rates, the text of messages which he received at home by telephone from his anonymous contact. He had been told by this contact that nothing he would be asked to send would arouse the suspicion of the